We'll call the special governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board to order at 10 a.m. Please note this meeting is being recorded at this time. Please take a moment and turn off your cell phones. Item 1, Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Olson, as clerk, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 2, roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Benita Daniel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Satya Seelam.
Absent.
Thank you. Item 3, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Trustee Boulay?
Yeah.
Based on a motion by Trustee Olson, a second by Trustee Boulay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item 4, receiving of public comments. Since there is nobody else in the room, I would ask for a consensus to waive the instructions for public comment.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 5, action items. A, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 22-23-04, approving the site of an elementary school facility, Evelyn Costa Elementary School. Staff report?
Yes, so this action item is related to state regulations tied to state approvals of the school site for construction. The Department of Toxic Substance, a very exciting department, does an analysis of soil. There are multiple corings that are done to make sure there's no long-term, there was some kind of oil spill or toxic chemicals, and some of these properties were on dairies and such. So this is the board approving the DTSC's clearance that we've passed all the tests. I also want to note for the board, that this is late in the game. We have had some issues in dealing with the developer and in College Park. There were 2 school sites originally in the master plan. So quick history, master plan, the College Park area was originally approved to have 2 small schools, 450 each, one in A, one in B, 450 students each. If you do a cost benefit analysis of that, that's 2 administrators instead of 1. If you did 1 school, that's 2 multi-use rooms. It's more expensive to build small schools. So we were in the specific plan, which is another part of the master plan, we were allowed to build 1 big school for 950 students. The long story is, and I'm putting this on the record because I want, in case we ever have to refer to it, we had long-standing negotiation with one of the developers down there. It created a delay in the start of the construction part because there was a delay in us accessing funds to build the school. With the help of the CSD, we were able to resolve the funding issue, which started the construction later than we wanted to. The good side of that is that in the delay, we were able to secure a plan that would allow us to build the whole school. If you recall, we had thought about we were going to be able to build half of it and then build the second half later. So we turned that in. We made lemonade out of that one. This one is another example of what happens when you have kind of multiple developers who do what they do. We were originally granted the site in neighborhood B, but in further investigation revealed that the site was not necessarily under the control of one developer, it was in control of another. Therefore, the site moved. And in moving it, all of the approvals at the current site were not up to date. And so part of the direct cost term sheet and the indirect cost term sheet negotiation that we conducted over a long period of time, which led to the money part, it also tied to our current and existing 1998 mitigation agreement, which says that the developer has to turn over a construction-ready site. This approval is being done after the construction started, mostly because it shifted from the B site to the A site. But we will be working behind the scenes to make sure that any costs borne by the construction budget will be passed on to the developer whose responsibility it was to get all this done before the site construction started. And it has created some problems in terms of smooth operations over there. The second piece is that this approval will allow us to speed up getting our 5004 application onto the state funding list, which is how we pay for the second half of the project. And so we anticipate somewhere in December that application going on, and then we will wait our turn for when it comes up. And two things has to happen. Either with the current tranche of money that came in with last year's record budget surplus, I think it was $4 billion was put aside for modernization and new construction. If we don't come up when that money is available, then we need a 2024 state construction bond to pass. And then when that passes, we need the state governor to commit to selling bonds. And when all that aligns and our turn comes up, we will get money. So all this to say the vision for how we fund K-8 schools has utterly collapsed. It was a good idea back in '98. State construction bonds aren't keeping up with our construction needs. Therefore, we continue to hunt money. It's important. Our attorneys keep reminding me to say this publicly. We have to find money in the moment to pay for things we need now, and we have to get, when the money that was supposed to be there comes in, we have to responsibly allocate those funds to make everything work. So we will continue to do so. Last thing I'll say on this matter is I gave a presentation a few months ago about this very challenge of funding, and the board and the community just needs to understand we're always scrambling for money. This is part of another chase. So with all of that said in one breath, we approve, or we recommend approval.
Move to approve governing board resolution
I have a question.
22-2304, approving the site of an elementary school facility, Evelyn Costa Elementary.
And I'll second that.
You had a question, Trustee Daniel.
So that was a lot of information, but you mentioned 5004, right?
Yeah, so it's a technical bureaucratic term, but basically that's the name of the forms that we fill out that are submitted to the Office of Public School Construction. And then once that's submitted, we go on the wait list for funding.
Yeah. So my question was, based on your experience and the history, how long do you think we'll have to wait for the 5004?
The money usually is 2 to 3 years late. We just got the money for Cordis 2.5 years late.
Okay.
So that would give you a... Now, if there's that in 2020, a state construction bond named Proposition 13 failed to pass. If that were to happen again and we needed that money, it could be longer.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Can I just comment that I really appreciate all the work you have done with funding these schools. I'm continually impressed at the lengths that you have to go to, the different sources you pull from, and it's just a creative. To me, I'm impressed, and I think it's in a time when very few school districts are growing school districts like ours. So I think it's a skill that's not a common skill, and so I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would echo that.
Thank you.
I've said it many times. Any additional discussion or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call vote, please.
Lisa Boulay.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Benita Daniel.
Aye.
Stephanie Olson. Aye. David Pombo.
Aye.
The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. Item B, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 22-23-05 to authorize the superintendent it's cut off, to make all actions necessary to complete the acquisition of real property and related actions. Staff report?
Yeah, this is the second part of the first part of the story I told. This essentially is the board telling me, go get her done. We do what's called a land sale acquisition. So there's a dedication option and a land sale option. Land sale allows the district to do a bureaucratic transfer of land based on a purchase sale agreement. And that purchase sale agreement allows us to put more requests for more funds on the 5004 application. And how it works, which is very common, is we get an appraisal and we get half of the appraised value of the property by doing it that way. So this approval and the direction from the board will allow me to do whatever I need to do to make that happen. What we hope to do currently is to get the appraisal that we already have done on the 5004 application without exceeding a deadline, which is why we're having the special board meeting.
Move to approve governing board resolution 22-23-05 to authorize the superintendent to take all actions necessary to complete the acquisition of real property and related actions.
Second.
That was Trustee Boulay.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question on that too. So again, the one thing that stood out to me when I read the document was I understand that as a superintendent, you will be taking all the actions necessary, and we trust you with that. Now, there was also another point where it was either you or your designee. So do we know who your designee is?
His name is Kirk Nicholas. So I do all the work. But in case, I don't know, I have a sprained ankle one day and we need somebody to sign a document, then we would pass it on to another district office official, probably Thor. Okay. And after that, Irene. It's kind of a catch-all item that if a curveball happens and we have to make a shift, I don't have to keep coming back to the board. It's just get her done and whatever we need to do. And so that's the purpose of the item.
Thank you.
And just to expand on that a little bit, that's very common language with anything that the superintendent is directed to do, the superintendent or his designee for that very reason.
Correct.
Yes, and my understanding is it is common. I just wanted to, know who was the next person.
Right. And if Thor sprains his ankle, then Irene would probably be next.
Okay, got it. Okay.
As an example, this meeting had to happen at some point in the near future because of time deadlines.
Correct.
If Dr. Nicholas, for whatever reason, and Thor, for whatever reason, were in, across the country for the holidays or whatever, and this meeting had to happen, then there would have to be a designee, because we are not going to suffer the loss of a school because Dr. Nicholas has a death in the family or whatever. So that language has to be in there. One other clarifying point for the public, which we're all aware of, is when it says all actions necessary, it means, it does mean all legal actions
Correct.
necessary. That is implied. You don't actually have to say it. Any other discussion or comment? Okay, since a roll call vote is required, we'll waive the voice vote and proceed directly to roll call vote, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and a second by Trustee Boulay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 5 ayes and no nays. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.